Hayden Williams here, and it's the Man in the Mirror podcast, a podcast where I talk to men about their life, work, and the contents of their bathroom cabinet. Those bathroom essentials, whether they be hair products, grooming, skincare, fragrance, things that really work for them. They pass on tips and tricks and tell us about their essential items. This week, I'm really happy to be joined by Ricki Hall, who is a model, an actor, and a brand owner. I really wanted to talk to Ricki because he's a beard model. Now, he was doing this a good while ago, probably 15 years ago now. Lots of tattoos, bearded, really great beard. So he was at the vanguard of that trend, which is obviously developed and is still going strong now. But Ricki has a really big following on social media. He's over 270,000 followers on Instagram. Has modelled all over the world for brands such as Lyle & Scott and Diesel. He gives us a fascinating insight into how he got into the business, how it worked for him, and he was working in the West Midlands for his dad, and how he got scouted into the whole modelling world. I think, with someone who obviously makes their living from, I guess, partly from their beard, he's got some really good insight into products that work for him. I said brand owner because Ricki also has his own range with grooming brand Captain Fawcett. He has his own range there called Booze and Baccy. He also has a clothing range called Indigo and Goods. So he's a busy guy. He plays a lot of golf as well. So I think you're going to really enjoy it. Here's Ricki Hall on the Man in the Mirror podcast. My guest on Man in the Mirror podcast this week is Ricki Hall. Ricki, welcome along.
Hayden, thank you ever so much for having me. And yeah, I've been very excited since you asked me to do this. So yeah,
it's great to have you. So I said in the intro that you're a well-known tattoo and beard model. I suppose what we're doing on Man in the Mirror is finding out about people's bathroom cabinet essentials, the products that they love. But it'd be good to know, how did you get into modelling? What happened? What were you up to at the time?
Yeah, so I used to be a motorcycle mechanic. That was my trade, and that's what I did from school. I was a Saturday boy from 14, 15 years old, working with my dad at his motorbike shop in Wolverhampton, just getting the sandwiches, being the dog's body, the cups of tea and all that kind of stuff. And that, organically progressed into full-time work when I left school. And when I left high school, went straight into the workshop. And that's what I thought my life was going to be. I had my missus, we'd go out on a Friday and a Saturday night, we'd have some beers, have a curry and go home. And that was, that was my life. And I was happy, there's nothing at all wrong with that, and see my friends and go to gym and bits and bobs. I was, 16, 17, 18, and that was all cool. Anyway, so one day I had to, one of my jobs was to pick customers' bikes up if they broke down or if there was an accident or whatever. If they bought the bike from us, then I was the white van man to go and collect the bike if something happened to it. Anyway, so my dad goes up to me and goes, "Look, Rick, there's a bike broken down, one of our customers, just off Regent Street, London." And this, the only time I've been to London before Hayden was to see The Lion King when I was about 10 years old with the school, with the school trip. There's like 10, 15.
Great show.
It was a very good show. Yeah, it was a very good show. It was a very entertaining show, and I really enjoyed it. But we're not here to talk about The Lion King and review it. I reviewed that in a separate podcast. But we went down. We went to see Lion King, and that was the last time we went to London. That was so fast forward 11 years. And my dad goes to me, "Look, I'll pay for a little hotel for you. Here's 20, 30 quid. Get yourself some beers. Stay down there and bring the bike back in the morning. And we'll start repairing it." So I was like, cool, it was a big deal for me. I'd never really been out of Birmingham, let alone going to London on my own, and going out and not knowing anybody and, having some beers. So I was super excited. So anyway, driving down, I realised I needed to get a couple of t-shirts. I had my jeans with me. I didn't bring any t-shirts with me. So parked the van just a couple of streets adjacent to Regent Street, chucked it on the meter for about 40 minutes. And I walked to Top Man. That was, a top shop that was on, right opposite the tube station.
No longer there, of course.
No longer there. No, it's not, unfortunately. But yeah, so you popped in Top Shop, Top Man, went upstairs, come out, got some t-shirts, come out. And as I was walking out, I got approached with two ladies. And And straight out that was to go, you got a very interesting look. Would you like to be a model? And it just completely knocked. I was like, I didn't know. There was so many different things going on in my head at the time.
This didn't happen to you normally?
No, never. No, I was like, is this just a London thing? Is this what happens to people in London every day? I don't know. Do they want money from me? I didn't understand it. And just, I thought, you know what? I'm like, I've never really thought about it. No, but sure, why not? And they go, so they literally, they've shown me all the credentials. They're all above board. And yeah, they put me in a taxi and they took me to Nev's, which was my then agency, Nev's model agency. And they signed me straight away. It was on King's Road at this point in Chelsea.
And did you have the same sort of look at that point? Were you bearded and tattooed?
No. So I had a Freddie Mercury moustache and a shaved sides and a slick back mohawk, and I only had from my wrist to the top of my shoulder tattooed. Right. So now I'm obviously fully tattooed. So it was a very diluted version of what I am now. But in the fashion industry at that point, this was 15, 16 years ago. Nobody had that in the fashion industry. There was not many. There was no facial hair really, apart from a bit of stubble or whatever. But definitely no tattoos, and not to the seriousness that it is today. Tattoos weren't even that popular.
No,
you know what I mean. So it was quite a new thing for even tattoos. I mean, they're everywhere now, and that's great. Everyone's showing their colours and they're really getting out there, and it's great. It's artwork, isn't it? They're showing art on their skin.
Did you get work straight away then? What kind of brands were you working with?
So it took a couple of months. So I had to work there was a little place in Camden called the Happy Shack, and it was just like a t-shirt customization bit and putting some studs and spray paint on band t-shirts, and it was great. And I know Camden inside and out. I've got a special place in my heart for Camden, and I always will. That was the place that kind of got me to London and paid for a little bit, and I was just sofa surfing. I was drinking a lot, partying a lot, and I was having a great time. 21 years old in London for the first time, just straight out of Wolverhampton. It was like being in space. Like being in Mars, and it was completely. I loved it, and I moved in the summer, so it was just summer gardens. And I remember the Black Cat we used to drink out in Camden. It's closed now, and they had a great little rooftop bar. Anyway, I digress. And yeah, so and at lunchtime I had to go out doing castings or go to test shoots to get my model book built up. So then when they go to the important castings, they can see what I look like in different clothes and different lightings and all this kind of stuff, and work by different photographers. Anyway, so during this point, I was completely skint. So I wasn't going to a barber shop, I wasn't getting my hair cut, and I couldn't really afford any razors of any. I wasn't shaving. So just out of pure laziness and skintness, I popped to my agency. Yeah, so I say, because I couldn't afford anything, my beard just grew. It grew, and it grows very quick. It's like cress. It grows so quick. And I had to pop and pick some images up from a photographer that he'd done to get into my book, so I can go to a casting for. I think it was a GQ casting for this rock and roll kind of biker Harley Davidson vibe thing. Yeah. But they wanted the images in my book before I went there because they wanted me to get this casting. Obviously, they wanted me to get the job with GQ. And yeah, anyway, so as I popped in there, the senior men's booker was there. And he looked at me, he was like, Rick, just pop over here a second. I was like, okay. I think his name's Steve, I believe. And he was like, Rick, we've had this casting coming for Lyle and Scott. It's for the golf range, but they were looking for a 40 to 55-year-old. You've just grown this beard and you look quite a lot older now. I was 22 at this point. And you go, let's just chance it. I think I just had a swallow tattoo on my neck as well. So I was getting...
So you didn't take it as an insult then?
No. I was like, you know what? I need the money. I didn't think I was going to get it, but I was just excited to do castings and be thought of, even my name to be put out there.
That's a great brand.
It doesn't matter what the brand... Anything. Anybody that was interested in the look or in me was just mind-blowing anyway, because I thought, I might maybe make something out of this. Went to the casting. Within an hour, they had a call back. Yeah, we want Ricki to shoot this thing. So we went to Brighton, shot the campaign a few weeks later. And when that campaign came out, that's when all my agencies, in LA, in New York, in Munich, in Barcelona, in Milan, they all bit. And I got 5 agencies overnight.
So that's when it all began.
And that's when it all began. And then that's when I started earning nice money. And, I was traveling.
Kind of signature look of,
Yeah. And I just went, I thought, there was a gap in the market, and I just completely went with it. And I was like, right, get more tattoos, sort me hair out. I can afford a barber now. I can, let's get it cut nice. And, I used to go to Murdoch's a lot.
Yeah.
And David now, who owns Shepherd's in Birmingham, where I live, he was the one who cut my hair first. And now I'm back with him, now that I've moved back to Birmingham.
So was he at Murdoch's and then...
He was at Murdoch's in I think it was just opposite the Shoreditch Overground.
Yep.
And there's a street at the back of there. I think it's by Nudie now.
Red Church Street?
I think, is that where Soho House is? It's just around the corner from Shoreditch House, sorry. Shoreditch House. Just around the corner from there. And he's the one he got me into the barbing, as in getting my hair cut short back and sides. And now that I'm, 15, 16 years later, he's back on my hair, and he's the best barber I've had.
Is he?
Hands down, he's absolutely incredible. I've got so much love for that guy because he's just so good at what he does,
and he knows your hair and what to do.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's funny though, isn't it? I think we kind of take it for granted almost that it's such an iconic look now, and you're at the vanguard of it, and we see it, in all kinds of magazines and online. But I guess 15 years ago, it was quite pioneering, wasn't it? You were one of the first to have this look and kind of pave the way.
Yeah, it was just, as I said before, there was nobody else doing it. I didn't even mean to do it. It just kind of fell into it. And I was just in my love of tattoos, and then the beard just kind of just organically grew, as in, I just thought, well, I wonder how far I can take this. It's almost like a challenge to myself, Hayden. Just let's see where it was going. And as the beard was getting bigger, I was getting bigger jobs. And I was like, friggin' hell. This is working. There's obviously going to be a limit to this point because I didn't want to get too ZZ Top. But it was just working, and I was flying I was working. I wasn't home for about a year. I was living in Brixton at this point then. So I was just paying for an expensive wardrobe, basically.
And going all over the world?
Yeah, I was working for Paul Smith, Diesel, H&M. I was working with Beckham for H&M underwear.
Yeah.
I was with Ryland, Topman. I was doing all these brands, these household name brands, and I was Levi's. I was in the middle of it, and my mum would see me in magazines or on the telly, and it was just she's kept it even to this day. She's got thousands of different magazines or GQ or Vogue that I was in, and I went back the other day to see my mum, and she's like, she was having a cup of tea. She's like, Rick, do you want to see him? I was like, I don't really like to see myself.
I love that your mum's got all the albums of all
and she's cut out things. It's like a massive scrapbook.
Yeah, I love it.
of beard, of hair.
So great to get the background and find out how you got to where you are. And obviously one of the ideas of this podcast is to sort of give tips and find out about the kind of products that you like to use. So it'd be great if you give us a little insight, a sort of virtual tour of your bathroom cabinet. And are there certain things? What about skincare? What do you do to look after your skin?
Yeah, I mean, I'm very lucky in the sense where I have no troublesome skin. As in, I'm very lucky. It's not greasy. It's not dry. You can put quite a lot of heavy products onto my skin, and I won't break out, and I won't, get a rash. So I know I'm lucky for that, because I understand a lot of people do struggle with their skin, and then it's an important thing, it's your face, isn't it? It's what people see first, So I understand that. So I'm incredibly lucky, and half of it's covered with hair. So I suppose it could be complete right off underneath there. we just don't know.
After that skin underneath as well,
but we do. So I think a tip would be So let's get skincare. The quick regime. The lightest moisturising face wash that they do. It doesn't matter what I use a lot of Kiehls.
Yeah.
Or the ordinary. Super, almost like a thin serum, really. Yeah. It doesn't really matter. As long as it's thin, not heavy, I'll just do it, put it on in the shower, wash it off, and that's it. But what a good tip I would say, especially for anybody who's grown a beard or who has got one already, is get a beard brush, a bit of shampoo on top. I use the Booze and Baccy by Captain Fawcett shampoo. Couple of sprays on top of your beard brush and scrub that in, because what it does, it gets into the hair, because you can't exfoliate the skin like you would do as a normal cream. Like, say, for example, I'm just paraphrasing here, Facial Fuel by Kiehls, they're exfoliate cream. So you would just obviously put that on top of your skin, wouldn't you? What I would suggest is put a shampoo and an exfoliator on top of the beard brush, and then scrub that into the beard, and that will penetrate the beard, penetrate the skin underneath, and it just gets all the gunk and all the dry skin, and it stops it itching as well. Yeah, people stop growing beards because of the itching phase. Yeah. But you just need to exfoliate. It's dead skin. It's just dead skin and gunk and all the horrible stuff on your skin. So just get the beard brush right in there, almost till it hurts almost, and that's it. And just wash it out and shampoo the beard.
And do you use beard moisturisers or anything like that?
So I use the Captain Fawcett beard oil, which whoever, we'll touch on that in a second. Yeah. So a beard oil is good. So the beard balm is good for shaping the beard. It's almost like a soft wax, and then the beard oil is good for getting into the roots of the beard, to keep everything fresh and shiny and moisturised as well. You know, especially if it's with an almond oil, it'll soak into the skin. It's good for it's all natural. Yeah. You know, so you're not going to get any naughtiness from that, and it smells amazing too. Yeah, there's some great smelling beard oils.
Now I can. I'm sitting here with Ricki. I can see all his tattoos. Do you have to look after all the tattooed skin? Is there something you do put on that?
I just go for. I like the moisturisers from the Body Shop, the body moisturisers. They do a coconut one, and that's great. And because it's quite thick, it pops the colours out on the tattoos. You know, so if I don't moisturise my skin, it goes a bit ashy on my arms and my legs and stuff, and the tattoos look really tall. So they do a great moisturiser. I mean, they do it in all different scents, but they're just the bog standard. It's in like just a little round dish.
So you're not having to spend crazy money on this.
It's like £8, tenner tops, and that lasts for 8. You only need like a 10p pence, 10 size piece, and it goes everywhere, and it smells amazing. It's like a pina colada. I love pina colada smells.
Do you like pina colada?
I'm touching on Juliette Has a Gun, do a Vanilla Vibes, which is a very similar smell. That's my holiday fragrance. Vanilla Vibes by Juliette Has a Gun. It is just like a Del Boy pina colada with all the fireworks coming out the top and the flamingos and the little cocktail. I love that. Del Boy is my, he's my style icon.
Spirit animal.
He's my spirit animal style icon. But it's just that the Vanilla Vibes by Juliette Has a Gun is the most fantastic evening perfume for me to wear. I love that.
It's good that you mentioned fragrance. It's probably good to touch on that now. So we've talked about your skincare and beard. So tell me about your relationship with fragrance. So are you a kind of guy that has one signature scent, or do you like to mix it up, or do you wear any at all?
Yeah, no. So I'm seasonal in my smells. So you got spring, summer, autumn, winter. And spring, summer kind of merges into the one, but it's a quarterly thing. It's a quarterly. I like to keep it fresh and citrusy, spring, summer, and then when we start going into the darker months, like your autumn, winter, you're inside a little bit more. You got the fire on. You start coming out more musky, a bit more oody, I suppose, just darker, and you're coming into Christmas time and you get the cinnamon smells going, orangey, and just that warm.
And you want that
smell.
Comfort and enveloping.
It's like putting on a cardigan of smell. Yeah, exactly. I love a shawl cardigan. I'm all about it. And the better the years that it goes on, there all rips and the stains and stuff. It just looks better. I love it. But currently.
So we're in April now. Yeah. What are you wearing at the moment?
So I've just got a new smell, which is Labo Baie 19, which have you smelled it?
I don't know Baie 19. I have to say.
Incredible. So it's petrichor. The word I'm looking for is where this exact smell. So in summertime, and you've got dry soil, or dry pavement, and it's been hot all day, and then you suddenly get a downpour.
Yep.
And it's that when the smell kicks up from the fresh rain, and the smell kicks up off that dry soil or the concrete. It's that beautiful metallic-y, fresh, grassy smell that you get it meets
sort of
it meets the air, meets the ground, and it just kicks up this metallic kind of smell. Very similar. I like very silvery metallic smells like Molecule 01, but that's a day-to-day thing at the moment. But it's either Baie 19 by Labo or Molecule. I like quite metallic-y, silver, fresh, almost. I don't know how to put this into a smell, but reflective smells. I don't get it. I don't know why I think of that word, but you know what I mean? It's almost just the colour silver. If you could smell the colour silver in a perfume, I don't know why I'm saying that, but
no, you make me want to.
You know what I mean? But it's incredible, and it's just very subtle. But every time you go past somebody, everyone's turning and go, "You smell amazing. You smell great. What is it? What is it? Yeah,
it sounds a bit like there's another one. Do you know DS and Durga? Have you ever come across DS?
I do not know. I don't
know. American. I think you'd quite like them actually. Quite sort of apothecary kind of Brooklyn-based perfume company, but they've got one called Concrete After Lightning, which sounds like again that sort of petrichor. Yeah, sort of electricity kind of thing. Which
electricity, that's the perfect word for it. We'll have to write that down for me. I'll have that. Sorry guys, Hayden's been right. Look, I've been putting my nose through his cabinets, and he's had to write a long list. We'll add that to when he pops to the loo, there's going to be a lot of toilet. There's going to be a lot of bits that have gone missing, Hayden.
Yeah.
and I'll smell fantastic as I walk out the door. It's eclectic mix.
So tell me about, as well as modelling, as I said in the introduction, Ricki has his own collaboration with a grooming and fragrance brand called Captain Fawcett. So tell me a bit more about that and how it came about, and what your fragrance line within Captain Fawcett is all about.
Totally. So how that came about, when I was still living in Brixton at this point. This must have been I've been working with Captain Fawcett for 10 years now, and I was come out of my apartment, and I was walking to the tube, and I was like, you know what, I was about an hour early for my casting. I can't remember what casting it was, but I remember it being a hot day. It was about 12 o'clock, and the pubs had just opened, or the terrace at the Ritzy Cinema just opened. I was like, you know what, nice. I saw somebody having a glass of wine. I'm like, I haven't got anything to do after this casting, so I thought I'm going to start day drinking, but just a couple, just to take the edge off the afternoon, and then do my casting. I only have a couple, and then I'll go out on the razzle after. So anyway, I sat down and I bumped into James Nesbitt.
Did you?
The Cold Feet actor. I mean,
do you know him more?
No, not at all. Not at all. But and we went for the same table, and that's how we started. We ended up having a beer with each other, and he quickly scurried off. So I mean, I probably ruined his whole.
You frightened him.
Well, yeah. I mean, I was very nice, but I didn't realise until I didn't realise until halfway through the conversation. We went our separate ways. But yeah, I'm completely digressing here. But and I was there having a couple of beers, and the PR girl for Captain Fawcett was sat just a couple of tables away. And she popped over to me, goes, "Excuse me, you've got a really nice beard. Can I give you a card? We do male grooming bits, beard oils, moustache." I love
how this happens to you. So I've never had this in my life, and there's all these stories already of women coming up to you and giving you cards, putting you in taxis and saying, "Come with me, Ricki."
My life isn't that fantastic, believe me. It's just, I think it's just being in the right place at the right time. Honestly, and I'm not looking for
to be a male model, ladies and gentlemen.
No, I don't say that. No,
sorry. She gave you a card.
She gave me a card, and she goes, "Look,
call me."
Yeah, and it was a lipstick mark, napkin, and a kiss in the black pen. No, and she goes, "Look, you've got a fantastic beard." And because I was very young at this point, nobody really had a beard at this age. So it was, and the tattoos. I had my little vest on. It was a hot day, and I was going to the casting, so I was showing as much skin as I could possibly show. Mm. And she gave me this card. I had a drink with her, and then I went my separate. I went to the casting. She went a separate way. And then 2 weeks later, I remember I had this in my wallet, this card. So I had a look on the website, captainfawcett.com. And I was like, oh my God, there's all these bits for the beard. I didn't know that there's all this kind of stuff.
As it was products you didn't really know.
Yeah, I'd been with David at Murdoch's, but even then, Murdoch's weren't touching on the beards at this point. So it was just, we put probably a bit of hair cream in there.
Yeah.
But when I looked at the website, you've got moustache waxes, beard oils, all the shaving kits, the old cutthroat razors, shampoos for the beard, all this stuff. It was a completely new world that was opening up to me, and I really wanted to be involved in this. So I emailed them. I go, look, and I put my Instagram on there. This was just as Instagram was starting, so I only had it wasn't as many as now, but it was a nice Instagram. It was getting there because of all the magazines I've been in, and people were interested in what was going on, and the bearded guy who's this weirdo, and and so it was getting there. And then Captain Fawcett ripped back, and they wanted to do a little film with me for their new beard oil. So I went to Gloucester, shot the beard oil. I think it was with Royal Enfield. It was Royal Enfield and Fawcett. And we had me in the old Belstaff gear and riding the bike and just making it quite rugged and touching on my time as a mechanic and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah,
and it went really well. The film came out, went really well. I was like, you know what, I want to get involved in this a bit more. Richie was thinking the same thing for Captain Fawcett. It was we kind of rang each other pretty much at the same time and going, let's do something. Let's do something. Let's get a brand within your brand, and that brand now is Booze and Baie, which we sell in Selfridges, Harvey Nichols. We sell all over the world. It went turbo overnight.
So what's the relevance of Booze and Baie? Why did you choose those smells?
So at this point, my dad was really poorly. He was suffering with mesothelioma, which is asbestos cancer. He went really poorly really quick.
Yeah.
So he was dealing with all that, and it was a very peculiar it was a very peculiar time, and I just remember thinking. I remember coming up with Richie told me to come up with some ideas about what you want the smell to be, what you want in it, and I was going through a lot of emotion with my dad at the time. So I thought, you know what, let's make this about my dad. Because I remember that when he was working at the bike shop, he would come home, say on a Sunday afternoon, he would come back smelling of oil, petrol, WD-40, 20 Bensons, and about 10 pints of Carlin. So that, and he's with his leather jacket and his Ford Capri, it'd be like probably broken down two times on the way home. It was just a beautiful mixture. And then with my mum's roast dinner, my mum's roast lamb, and the Formula One noise, I can picture it now. I can shut my eyes and can be right there, Hayden.
Yeah.
And I wanted to encapsulate that in a bottle, in a beard oil, because of, beard oils, manly, sexy, rugged, not pretty and polished, and then just throw all the ingredients that I could think of. Put the tobacco leaf, the bog myrtle, the hops from the beer. It's got 11 essential oils in there. It's got all these different oils in there, and the smell is incredible. The smell is exactly how my dad used to smell, as in. It's just that old school manliness, bit of Old Spice kind of gear going on, but with like it's just fantastic. And I was so super proud of it. And did
it take a long time to sort of arrive at the final formula?
So we went to the mixologist, and I was there for 12 hours, and you have to keep smelling coffee beans, so you delete that smell from your nose. It took a while, and it was I say it was hard work. It was just a very long process, but I'm glad I did that. I didn't want to just go in, because I'm putting my name to this. I didn't want to go in, put my name to it, and go home, because I'd have had to deal with that, live with that, and I'd have I could have done that better. I put the hours in. We put the hours in as a team, Captain Fawcett and myself, and we got to the end result, and then.
And was there a kind of eureka moment of that's it? That's the essence of my dad?
It took because what had to happen, they had to play around with ratios then. So there was about 10 different beard oils that got sent to me about 3 weeks later, and A, B, C, D, E, and they go, Ricki, you have to choose out of these. That's all there is. That we can't do any more. Pick one. And then it ended up being like the G one or something like that. And that's the smell that hasn't changed today. And that's gone into shampoos, beard oils, moustache waxes, moisturisers, hair shampoo, beard shampoo, all these different the facial moisturiser. We've done it all. We've done it all, Hayden.
Amazing. And Captain Fawcett, you say this, it's in some of the big retailers and also available on their website, I guess.
CaptainFawcett.com, and he does a few collabs with he does one with Rufus Hound.
Oh, the actor
Rufus Hound, and actually he's
famous beard merchant.
His is one of my favourite smells as well. If I didn't have mine, I'll go for it. Sid Satung as well, who's a very famous barber, very good barber. He works out in Nottingham now. He's from Chicago originally, but he moved over 8 years ago. Very nice guy, but his is very nice. It's very fresh. I like fresh smells. And
all the different scents in the range. It sounds like they're quite separate and
very different.
Worlds,
and there's a new one called Maharaj, which is very oody, and it's got it's a very dark, deep smell, and almost gold. It's almost a gold smell. That's fantastic. It's very deep, very nice for the winter.
I love it. You have a way of describing fragrance with colours, which I think is really interesting. And it's a good way is a really good way in. I think you talked about silvers and golds and stuff.
Really I know it might not make sense to a lot of people, but it makes sense to me, and I do struggle trying to explain things, so I explain it in the way that I know how you do.
I think it's a really good way, and actually to find the language for fragrance is difficult, and I think color and texture is a really good way. So I mean, one thing I'm really keen to find out in this podcast is, we're talking about sort of products in your virtual bathroom cabinet, but also you're in your mid-30s, you've said. Are you, when you look in the mirror and look in the bathroom mirror now, are you happy with what you see? Do you ever sort of think, oh God, I wish I should do this change or this tweakment or anything? Or do you sort of hark back to youth? Or what's your relationship with your appearance, which obviously, in lots of ways makes your living and does amazing things for you? Are you kind of content and happy with what you see?
You know what, Hayden? I am. I like to think that I'm growing old gracefully. I'm not. I definitely haven't got the same skin as I did when I was 20, when I first started getting into the game of modelling. But I've got crow's feet. Like I'm very excited that I've got grey hairs now. Actually,
I can't see many.
There's a few here. There's a few, and but I've almost got to the point where I want to start putting silver shampoo on them a little bit. But I love great silver hair is my absolute ideal. I can't wait I want to go totally white. I want to go. That is absolutely outrageously beautiful, I think, for hair. But no, as you know, as we're touching back on to what you said, I've got crow's feet, and there's things you can do. You can put a bit of Botox in there. You can do some fillers, which people do, and that's absolutely fine.
But you don't think you'd do that?
No, not me. Not I like the character of my face as it's going on. It tells a story. I used to be a very big drinker, a very big partier, and that shows. God knows what the insides of me look like. But it's from the years of battering my body about with drink and partying and stuff like that, late nights, shitty food. It shows. Now that I've cleaned up a bit, I've got actually to say a bit. It's a very clean living. I go to the gym all the time. I drink a lot of water, play a lot of golf, do a lot of cardio. I eat more vegetables now, which I never used to before. That comes across in your skin, doesn't it? It comes across in your skin. It's also good for your mind as well. You put shit in, you get shit out, don't you? But yeah, it's just growing up. I think it's just growing old gracefully and growing old wisely as well. But. There's you can go the other way and you can put all these things in your face, and you know what, if it makes you happy, do it.
Crack on.
If it's not hurting anybody else, just be a bit careful, just be a bit mindful of it, because you can get carried away. I've got a very addictive personality, so I'm sure if I started doing it, Jesus, I would go way over the top. So I think I'm best to stay away from it, because look at the tattoos. I only wanted to get one to start with.
It started with one,
and now there's nothing else to be tattooed. I was getting tattoos as in lasered to people get more put on. But
have you had some off? Have you?
Yeah. So this all used to be clouds. Sorry, I know this is bad for a podcast, but on my left arm there used to be clouds all behind the pictures on top, and we've had it all delete. Yeah, so you can see a little bit now. That used to be dark clouds. So there's Wayne Laser, he deleted all that. It takes a little while, and it hurts more than the actual tattoo. But it's done. But touching back onto growing older, I'm enjoying the journey, Hayden. Yeah, I'm enjoying the journey, and I'm happy. It seems like a really
sort of healthy way of looking at it. And you mentioned golf and trying to be healthier now, and that kind of self-care word, is getting outside and golf, is a good way of relaxing and making sure you're looking after yourself? Is that something you use? I think
golf. So I go to the gym. I'm in the gym at 6. I said before off air to you that I wake up at 4. I have my breakfast. But I'm asleep at 9. You know what I mean? So it balances out. You know what I mean? I used to be just going out at 9, and now it's completely. My world is completely flipped on its head. I wake up in the morning. I'll have a nice coffee. I even go into bed. I look forward to the smell of that coffee. I'm a big fan. I have a nice little Nespresso machine. It's not fancy, but you can. Every month there's new coffees coming out. I get it from Selfridges because I live like 5 minutes from the boring. Pop in, and I know the guys there. Rafael, the guy is from Brazil.
Hey, Rafael.
If you're listening. He won't be listening. And
I hope he is.
No, I'm sure he is. I'll give him a nudge. I'll give him a nudge when I see him in the Espresso bar.
You'll get a free capsule.
I wake up, go to the gym, and then from the gym I go to play 9 holes of golf, and then I go to work. It's good for my mind. It's good for my structure. I know what's going on. I need structure throughout the day. I have a physical diary where I have to cross things in, cross things out, put things on there, and physically write it in. Change bits and bobs, because I like to and then at the end of the day I can know, just crossing them off. I've had a very productive day here, rather than just kind of guessworking stuff. I don't like to use my phone for the calendar. I physically like to write it down.
It's quite satisfying, that, isn't it?
Just crossing out. I've done that. I've been worried about that, and it's done. It's done. It's out of my life now. And then when you get to the end of the day, I'm just looking for what's going on tomorrow, and then I'm like crossing all these things. I'll go, Ricki, you've had a really, really good day there, mate. Well done. I go to bed.
Go to bed. It's 9 o'clock.
You're past your bedtime.
Well, Ricki, thank you so much. It's been a really fascinating insight into your journey and how things have happened and all the amazing things that are going on with Captain Fawcett and the work that you're doing. But really appreciate your time. Thanks for coming along.
Hayden, thank you ever so much for having me.
Pleasure. Take care.
Cheers.
It was so lovely to talk to Ricki. It was an absolute joy. I won't give you the whole story, but we tried to record it virtually in different places, but for one reason or another it didn't work. So actually Ricki ended up coming here to my house, which was even better, a kind of a happy accident, because I got to meet him in person and he was so lovely. And obviously that meant it took more time for him, so I really appreciate him coming over to see me and recording with me here at home. I hope you enjoyed it. I think there's some really good tips there, things particularly around the beard and what he does with his wonderful beard. You can find Ricki on Instagram. His Instagram handle is Ricki, Ricki, Ricki Sam Hall, so all one word, Ricki Sam, SAMHALL, Ricki Sam Hall on Instagram. Go and swell his numbers even further. Thanks for joining me this week on Man in the Mirror. I'll see you next time. Take care.